You have the ambition, you have the intelligence, but you have almost nothing to show for it. I'm not saying this to be harsh. I'm saying it because I was exactly in your shoes before, and I know exactly why this is happening. You set a goal, maybe it's at the start of the semester, or maybe it's at the start of the new year, and you intend to do real stuff like networking or land a great internship, or maybe even try building something for real. You really mean it and you weren't lying to yourself, but here you are a few weeks or months later and almost nothing has changed. You're nowhere closer to your goal than when you first set it. You might have made a lot of small steps like updating your resume, browsing some job boards, or even having a coffee chat, but you fail to find yourself making forward momentum. You don't necessarily have a motivation problem, it's something entirely different. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. So here's what most people don't notice about themselves. Every January, the gym parking lots will overflow or Duolingo downloads will spike. People will set goals with real intentions, but by February, it's all gone. Now, this isn't because they didn't actually want it. They really wanted it and these goals were genuine, but wanting something and knowing how to actually get there are two completely different skills. And most people never really develop the second one. So this pattern shows up almost everywhere, but it becomes especially dangerous when you let it creep into your career. Because when you're in the gym, a wasted month doesn't really mean much. You might not get as strong or might not hit your bench press goals. But when it comes to your career, a wasted year or even a few months can change the entire trajectory of your life. You keep telling yourself you're gonna land a great internship, build your network, do coffee chats, and eventually figure it out. But then you spend the next 3 or 4 months doing things that feel productive, but that don't actually move you closer towards your goal. You might tweak your resume, you might scroll LinkedIn, you might send out a handful of mass applications into the void. You're staying busy, you feel productive, but you're not actually moving towards your goal. So here's why this actually happens. Most people approach their goals looking forward. They start where they are, they look vaguely in the direction that they want to go, and they just start blindly walking. The problem with this is that you don't actually know where you're going. You just know that you're going somewhere and you're trying to find the direction in which you want to land. So you start taking action that feels right in the moment. You might apply to a few jobs, you might attend a networking week, go to a career fair, or Google how to break into consulting. Each action here is just disconnected from the last. There's no sequence, there's no logic, there's no strategy, and there's no real compounding that's happening. It's like you're walking through a city without a map. You keep moving and you might be going in circles, but you're not actually getting closer to where you want to go. You might be actually getting further away. So now what I want you to do is flip this. What if you started at the end? What if instead of saying, I want a great career and hoping that the path reveals itself, you picked a specific destination and worked backwards from there? Now, suddenly the path is less mysterious and it just becomes a sequence and ordering things. You look at where you want to be in the future and ask yourself, what does it actually take to get there? What did people who did this have in common? What experiences did they have? What relationships did they build? You start understanding and gaining information of what it actually takes to get to where you want to go. And then you simply just map it out, step by step, from the end back to today. So now when you act, every action has a reason. Every week you have a purpose. You're not just guessing anymore and you're actually executing. But here's what nobody is talking about. The cost of going nowhere and just staying in place and doing fake productivity is not just wasting your time. It's doing a lot more damage, and a lot of that's inside of your head. When you take action without a clear direction, you're busy but not really progressing, and something subtle starts to shift. You start to question yourself. You start to wonder maybe if you're not cut out for this, or maybe if the people who actually got the jobs are much better than you. The reality is that they're not much smarter than you. In most cases, they just had a much clearer map. So the worst thing about ambition without a roadmap isn't the stalled career or the delayed progress. It's that you slowly start to believe that the problem is you, that you're not smart enough, that you're not disciplined enough, or that you're not good enough. This is the furthest thing from the truth. You don't have a problem with yourself. You just have a problem with the direction. You just need a better map. So when you flip the direction, when you start from the end and work backwards, something will immediately change. The anxiety will drop, not because the goal gets any easier, it's still as hard, but because the uncertainty goes away. You know what you want to do tomorrow, and you know what you have to do for the rest of this week, and you know what checkpoints you have to hit this month. And this is the thing that surprises most people. You actually start to enjoy the process because progress becomes visible. It's not just some distant, abstract concept. In a way, you're able to say, I finished this step and I see the next one. When you start acting in this way, you'll stop scrolling LinkedIn and comparing yourself to people who seem to have it all figured out, because now you have your own map. Their path becomes irrelevant to yours. Confidence will start coming back, not from getting the results, but from knowing you're pointing in the right direction and you're actually moving forward. So here's what I'd like to challenge you to do, not tomorrow, but tonight. Do this immediately. Pick one goal that you've been carrying around, the one that you keep saying that you'll start working on, and do 3 things. First, I want you to name your point B. Make it very specific. Don't just put, I want to get a good job, or I want to get a job in finance. That's not necessarily a destination. That's just a wish, right? Pick something that you can actually describe. A role, a company, type of work, something that has a real deadline, something that's also ambitious. The second thing I want you to do is start researching the path. Find 2 or 3 people who have done exactly the thing that you want to do and reach out to them. Ask them, what did you actually do to get here? What mattered? What didn't? You're not necessarily networking in this stage. You're just gathering information and intel for your map. The third thing is to start working backwards to today. So take what you learned from these conversations and the internet research and reverse engineer all the steps that you need. Work backward from your point B to today. What needs to happen first and what can you start this week? That's pretty much it. You don't need to work harder. You just need to know where you're going. And then then start building a map to get there. If this shifted the way that you see things, I write about this every week in my newsletter. We talk about how to future-proof yourself when the rules keep changing. We have a link in the description. Subscribe to it. It's free, and you'll get once a weekly update about tactics that work in 2026. Also, feel free to comment a goal that you have but you haven't started working towards. Sometimes just simply saying it out loud and getting it out of your head is the best step that you can take, as it'll actually start letting you take action towards it. All right, see you in the next video.